By the end of this video, you are going to understand absolutely everything you need to know about the trait system, from what they are, how to get them, how to unlock new traits, how to level them up, and how to use all of the different trait stones the game throws at you. It's a confusing system at first glance, but once you understand the depths of it, it's actually quite simple and a really great way to make your character a complete badass. Do check the timestamps below. Depending on your affinity for the system, you might know some of this already, but I've got timestamps for the entire video, so you can always come back and refresh your mind on bits you may have forgotten. Let's go. So starting off with the absolute basics, what are traits? Traits are passive abilities that are applied to weapons and armor and most of the equipment that you can find in the game. As you can see here, my heroic broadsword of the resistance has a stun chance trait applied. My heroic blade of the resistance has 2 critical hit chance and heavy attack chance. They are randomized from certain tables when you pick them up. So for example, whenever you craft a new weapon, if you look here, it will say the traits are locked. You will get a trait on this item, but not till it's created because it's random. It's taken from a random table, and I will show you here. So this item has now been created and it has now been given the critical hit chance trait. The exact same applies whenever you loot an item or you gain one from a ward. Anytime the game gives you an item that has a potential trait on it, it will unlock a trait automatically. Now, it's important to note this because if you go to your items, so I'm on PlayStation right here, I'm going to highlight this sword, I'm going to press the L3 button to see all of the menus, and then I'm going to scroll down to the traits list. This tells you all of the traits that weapon can have. So when you re-roll traits, which we're going to get into here in a bit, it will always use one of these tables. When I say it's randomly assigned, it is random, but it is random from a table that is already defined. So the only traits this weapon can get from this or any other weapon are these traits here. This is more important if you're min-maxing your build, really trying to hone in on your strengths, but this is generally just how the traits in the game function. So moving on to the more advanced elements of the trait system, we are going to look at unlocking trait slots. You can see here both my heroic blade of the resistances have 3 trait slots available. 2 are locked. You get the first slot from what I've just explained. Even when you purchase, obtain, otherwise craft the item, it will unlock the first trait slot for you. There are 2 additional trait slots that you can have, and it's really beneficial to unlock as many of these as you can. Now, in order to unlock a new trait slot, you need to find the exact same item. So I have 1 heroic blade of the resistance here that I am wearing and 1 in my inventory. The 1 in my inventory has a heavy attack chance trait. The one I've got has a critical chance trait. So if I apply the exact same item with a different trait, the one you want ideally, it's a 100% chance for this to work. So when I sacrifice my 1 in my inventory to the one that I'm wearing, it's exactly the same item. I will get the trait from the unequipped one, the new one, onto my existing items. This is how you unlock the additional slots. This again allows you to really choose and define your weapon for exactly what you want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock the trait slot here. You can see it's a 100% chance. This is all good and fine. Once this is applied, it will unlock a second trait slot for me. So there we go. You can see now I have both the traits on the weapon, including the sacrifice one that I just used. So let's look at upgrading the traits on your existing equipment. So I've got my heroic blade of the resistance here that we made earlier in the video. I've still got my critical hit chance and my heavy attack chance traits. I want to increase one of those. All I need to do is find a similar item, so any other weapon that has one of these 2 traits. I have a great sword in my inventory that has the heavy attack chance trait, so I can sacrifice that into the heroic blade of the resistance to unlock the trait, or to have a chance at unlocking the trait. This is where it gets a little bit confusing and potentially a little bit dangerous if you do it wrong. So there's a few things to take into account here. The higher the item you are sacrificing, the more % chance you have of success. So I think it's 1% for green, 10% for blue, and I've not found a purple yet. I think it's like 50 to 100%, so it's obviously much higher the rarer item you have. But for the most part, you are going to be putting greens and blues into these items. Now, when it goes wrong, you get a pity currency called blessing. Blessing can then be applied to future opportunities to increase your chances. So I've got 12 blessing here. If I apply the blessing, that gives me an extra 1% chance at getting the trait. 2% is still awful. Now, I've been struggling to test this. I did this with a weapon previously before, and I used my blessing, and it still failed, and the blessing vanished. So just in case that is the case, do not use your blessing unless it brings you up to 100%. It's just not worth the risk, right? So wait a little bit, farm as much gear as you can, get to the 100%, and then just do it so you're guaranteed the trait upgrade. Don't risk it by blowing it all too early. So just to summarize really quick, if you want to increase the level of any of your traits on any of your gear, you need to find a similar piece of gear, so a weapon for a weapon, a chest piece for a chest piece, with the trait that is on your existing weapon. You then sacrifice the one in your inventory onto the other one, and that has a chance of upgrading the traits level. Now, let's talk about the different trait extraction stones and stones available. These all build on the already existing systems that you should now understand relatively well. It may take a little while to get there, but you'll get there. These allow you to sort of bypass all the farming and all the hassle and just get to where you need to quicker. They are valuable, they are quite rare. The trait extraction stones first. You can use these to extract a trait off of any item you have that you haven't leveled up before. You can see half my gear here will not work. It has to be something you've not leveled up before. If I use my trait extract stone on this, I will get a stun chance extract. So I'll show you here. I've already done it on one of my previous weapons for shitty wildkin damage. This is an extract Legionnaires greatsword. So it's not the greatsword itself. It's just the trait I've extracted from it. You can buy and sell these on the auction house. I don't recommend messing with that for at least a few weeks unless you're absolutely minted, because the prices are going to be all over the place. Give the market time to settle for supply and demand. Then items will be more fairly priced. I wouldn't mess around with any of the auction house for this stuff right now. And I wouldn't even put any of your time into most of your greens and blues. I would do almost all of this dedicated towards your purple stuff. So the trait extraction stone allows you to extract the trait from the item, and then you can sell it on. Otherwise, you may as well just use the item to buff one of your traits already instead of extracting. Then we have the Trait Unlockstone. These are really, really good because these allow you to just unlock a trait immediately. So if we go into the enchantment section, go to the traits. Where's the one we've been using? This one here. So it's already got 2 really good traits on it. I'd like something else. If you scroll down to the locked trait, you see at the bottom there, unlock trait selectively. As it sounds, you get to pick any of the existing traits available to that weapon that you don't already have. Now for me, I would probably go max health on this one. Maybe hit chance, but maybe I'll sort of experiment a bit later. But this allows you to sort of really fine-tune your weapon and get that final trait in. They are quite rare. You can get them from dungeons, I think. You get them from weeklies and rewards and that. So I've got 80, so they're not impossible to get to 100 of. But these allow you to just sort of skip the train and just go straight for the one you want. Then lastly, we have the trait conversion stones, I think they're called yet. So when you're on an existing trait, you have 2 other options here. You can trait conversion straight away, which just uses the trait conversion stone. This will remove that trait and roll randomly on the trait table, getting you a different trait. So you can see there from the percentage chances, most chances the hit chance, least chance is the others, I guess. So obviously you can't roll into one you've already got. Again, this is random, so the payout is up to you. I'm not sure it's a great idea. If you go into the convert trait selectively option with the square button, you can combine it with trait unlock stones to change. So it's pretty much the same as using a trait unlock stone, except you're getting rid of a trait, maybe you've got a crap one, and replacing it with a chosen one. So between these 3 stones, the trait unlock stone, the trait conversion stone, and the extraction stone, it gives you more choice, more freedom, and more options to pimp your gear out with the traits that you're looking for. So there you go, guys. That pretty much covers absolutely everything I know about traits. I might have missed 1 or 2 things here or there. I tend to with these long videos. If I do, I will update the pinned comment below. If it's really big, I'll just redo the video, but hopefully not. If you enjoyed the video, do like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care now.